everybody. How are you doing today? It's Miss Carolyn and I'm here to do some kids yoga again with the little people. This is our 5th week together and I'm really excited to be here. You might notice that the light is different right now. It's actually a little chilly. The light is different right now behind me, and that's because I'm not doing this in the evening, in the morning like I normally do. I'm doing it in the evening. And the next couple days, the weather is supposed to get a little bit windier, and so I thought I should do our practice together tonight, and so evening it is. And things always, the color is always a little different in the evening, but it's really nice to do an evening practice. And sometimes your mommy or daddies might go do yoga in the evenings. Sometimes it's just really nice to do it at different times of the day. But I was wondering if you might have noticed that behind me, the white azaleas, and I think you can probably see them, the pink azaleas, have really, really blossomed. It seems like every day something new wants to pop out with the flowers and everything. And my lilacs are doing so nicely, but the red azaleas that had bloomed first, now they're all gone. And that's what happens with spring. Like something will start blooming and then it'll fade away and another thing will start blooming. And so there's new beginnings all the time. And sometimes we have to, change happens and we have to, say goodbye until next year to a favorite part of spring. And so I'll miss the red azaleas that I had earlier. I also brought out a flower pot that I showed you before. These are blue-eyed beauties. And the thing I wanted to show you about this is, last time I showed it to you, they were all blooming and everything, but now some of them are kind of they're kind of folding in on themselves. And that's because it's been a little bit more chilly in the evenings and in the middle of the night and in the mornings, and sometimes flowers do that. They kind of fold in and they wait until the sun is warm again and they open up nice and wide. And we do that when it's cold. I'm sure you felt this in your body where you get really tight and kind of fold into yourselves when it's really, really cold. Maybe you shiver even. And then when the sun comes out, it just feels so good to stand or run in the sun. And so flowers do that too. And then I also wanted to show you a couple things. Here, this flower it's this really nice camellia that I have that's up on a hill. But this one's a little wilty right now because it had fallen to the ground, and I don't know if it fell on its own, or more likely, I suspect that a little squirrel gnawed it off of the plant, because squirrels and like deer, sometimes flowers for them, or the bulbs of flowers, that's food. Like the deer you might see nibbling on plants, and they nibble on flowers like my tulips. And sometimes it's hard for me to share my flowers with some of the animals, but you have to realize that that's how they eat, right? They need to eat too. And so you'll see little animals nibbling here and there on plants and flowers. And of course in the fall you always see the squirrels scurrying about and getting some acorns, but that's what you might see in the spring with the flowers. The other thing I brought out, and I know this is hard to see, but I'm sure you have it around your neighborhood, is this is parts of a tree that's about to have its leaves pop out and become full leaves. But if you look up at the trees, some of the trees, they don't look like they have regular leaves yet. They look kind of fuzzy, or they have fuzzy little stuff hanging down from them. And what the fuzzy stuff is it's called pollen. And if I were to take this, the fuzzy stuff, and rub it through my fingers, my fingers might get powdery, and sometimes it's orange or green. And but the trees make this pollen in order to grow baby trees, and they need to do this. Sort of the trouble is sometimes that for humans, for people, the pollen sometimes it irritates our noses and stuff, and so sometimes we can get almost like a cold, you know. Our nose might get all stuffy, and we can go through a few days of not really feeling our best because the pollen can affect us sometimes, and that happens for me actually. So it's the one little drawback of spring, but I know it's only a short while, and then the payoff is a lot of gorgeousness around me. So I'm willing to just work through that and wait for the pollen to be done, and then I just enjoy the gorgeousness of the trees. So today for our practice, I thought we would try out doing some of the things we've learned before, and we're going to learn some new things. And but I wanted to start off with how we started, I think, one of our first weeks. And because it's a little chilly today, I want to start off this way. We're going to rub our hands together, and we're going to create some heat. All right, so I'm rubbing my hands together. Oh, and it's feeling warmer, which is good. And then I'm gonna put my hands over my eyes, and that feels so nice. Take a nice deep breath in. I'm gonna let it out. I'm gonna rub my hands again, make some heat. And then I'm gonna put one hand on my belly and one on my heart, and I'm gonna take a nice deep breath in. Good. One more time. If you're doing this with me, see how fast you can rub them. How, like, can you really press your hands together? It makes more heat that way. So rubbing them really, really fast and hard together, and then taking them over my eyes and taking a breath in. That was great. All right, so let's stand up and let's do some of our warm-up together. That's going to help me a lot. So the first thing I'm going to do is, why don't we, you know how we did some sunflowers last week? We learned sunflowers, right? What we did is we took our legs apart, and I'm practicing on my socks even today. We took our legs apart, and we took our arms up like a 5-pointed star, really, really reaching, and then we bent our knees, and we folded down and make a huge sunflower with your body, and then come back up. So let's do 5 of those, okay? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. So reach again, really nice. Take a deep breath. And then bring your hands to your heart, and we're gonna do 5 volcanoes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good job. All right, so now what I wanna do is I wanna know if you remember how to do puppet marching. Do you remember what that was? Do you remember how we took our feet kind of together, and then on the same side of our body, like let's say if I lift up this leg, I'm going to take this arm up to the sky on the same side, and I'm going to put it all down, and I'm going to go the other side. So let's do 5 of those puppet marching. You can pretend you're a nice strong puppet. So it's 1, 2, 3. How high can you bring your leg up? 4. And 5. All right, so that was our puppet marching. Good job. Okay, so now what I want to see is if you remember how to be rocking chairs. Do you remember what that was? We were going to sit our bum back behind us, behind our shoulders. We're going to take our arms out in front, sitting back, and then I'm going to rock forward Woo! And back. I think I went a little bit too forward. Forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back. I'll turn this way so you can see. Ready? Forward and back, and forward and back, and forward and back. Awesome, and let's bring our arms up towards the sky, and then let's go ahead and take our hands and fold our 3 fingers, the pinky finger and the other 2 fingers down, and just use our pointer fingers to point up to the sky, okay? And now while you feel nice and strong, your feet going into the ground, we're gonna let ourselves bend over to one side, and then we're gonna come back up to the center, and we're gonna go off to the other side. And sometimes when I do this, I kind of feel like a tall blade of grass, just sort of blowing softly from one side to the other in the wind. Let's do it one more time on each side. There you go. All right, allow the hands to float down. Gracie's exploring the garden behind me. All right, so there's one more really neat thing I want to do while we're just warming up here, and I love this one. And so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take one leg and I'm gonna step back with that one leg behind me, and then I'm gonna open my arms up, and I'm gonna kind of bend back and look up to the sky, and then I'm gonna come forward and I'm gonna give myself a hug. And then I'm gonna take my other leg back and bend back and look up to the sky, and then I'm gonna come forward and give myself a hug. And so this is called bird in flight. Okay, let's see if we can do it 5 times. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just to balance it out, I'm gonna do that other leg. Oh, I love being a bird of flight. Sometimes it's really fun to do that to music and just feel your body flow with the music. You should give that a try. It just feels so neat to imagine that you're a bird flying up in the sky. I love that. That's bird in flight. Okay, so let's see some of the things that we learned when we were more on the ground last time. All right, so we're gonna come down to all 4s, and I think we should be cat and cows and dogs together. I don't know if I've ever seen Gracie. I've seen her do a pose that looks like something called Sphinx. Maybe I'll show that to you today. But here we go. We're on all 4s, and to be cats, we're gonna round our spine, meow, and then we're gonna go the other direction, moo, and we're gonna round, meow, and go the other direction, moo, and then you know what happens next, right? We're gonna take our knees up and press our hips up and back. I'm gonna walk forward so I don't fall off the ground, and then take my hips back and my arms. I'm pushing myself away from the front of me in downward facing dog, and I'm gonna go woof 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 woof. You remember that, right? That's one of the fun parts. I love that. What else did we do? We know how to do snake. Let's come down. I'm gonna move this so you can hopefully see my face. We're gonna come down here on the ground, and to be snakes, we have the top of our feet connecting to the ground. Our pelvis is nice and heavy to the ground, and then my hands are right under my shoulders, and I'm gonna draw myself up like this, and I'm gonna, right? But what if I wanted to be a superhero? What would I do? Do you remember? that, when I'm gonna be a superhero, I'm gonna take my arms out in front of me and lift up my feet behind me. I'm gonna decide what superhero I wanna be. I'm gonna be Buzz Lightyear, just like last time. And so I'm gonna say, to infinity and beyond, right? Do you remember that? What kind of superhero were you this time? There's lots of different ones, right? We can be, hi there. Gracie's my superhero, actually. Anyway, we can be Batman and Batgirl and Batwoman, and we can be Superman and Superwoman. And there's just so many. Wonder Woman, I guess we can be. It's just really fun to decide what you're gonna be. All you have to do is stretch out and pretend you're flying. It's awesome. Okay, I know what we need to do. Let's go onto our backs. Let's roll over onto our backs. Lie down. Okay? And I think we should do roly-poly big star again. So, push my plan away. All right, so my legs are out wide. I'm losing my earbuds. My legs are out wide. I'm gonna be a 5-pointed star, reaching, reaching, reaching. And then I'm gonna go roly-poly, nice and tight. And then a big, big star, reaching, reaching, and roly-poly, tight, 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 tight. One more time. Reaching, big star, reaching, big star, and then roly-poly. Tight, 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 tight. Awesome. All right, so I want to show you something else we can be on our backs. And here, you know what? I think I'm going to have to take off my socks for this because you're going to need to see my feet. Oh boy, I hope my feet don't get cold. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to be something called either happy baby, or sometimes, to be honest, it's called dead bug. And so what that means is my knees are going to come towards my belly, and I'm going to take my feet up to the sky. And then I can either grab my ankles, or I could even reach for my big toes, like here, and I can bring my knees apart, and I can rock from side to side. And this is called happy baby or dead bug. And I have to say that some people like calling it one thing and some people like calling it the other thing. At Halloween time, it's really fun to call it dead bug. So I'm going to bring my knees towards my chest, and I'm going to roll myself over and press up. And do you remember how to do the fish wiggle? That's when we were on our bellies and we let ourselves down, and here I am on my belly. I can't use my hands, and I'm going to try and wiggle forward and wiggle back, and I'm going to make the fish mouth. And I don't know, we'll see if Gracie comes to say hi or not. Okay, I guess she went by. All right, here we go. I'm going to wiggling forward. Oh, can't use your hands, and then wiggle back. You remember that, the fish wiggle? Well, I have another thing to show you that's really, really fun. This is called bum walking. So here's what we're gonna do. I'll show you this way, or you can see my feet. I'll do it two ways. So I'm gonna walk, I gotta walk just using my bum. I'm gonna turn my body from side to side, and I walk forward, and then I'm gonna wiggle myself back and go backwards. Here's what it looks like from this angle. This part is really, really fun. Okay, here I go. I'm gonna go forwards, and then I'm gonna go backwards. All right, that is called bum walking. Okay, so I wanna show a few things in standing. Remember how last time, so come on up, come to standing. And do you remember how last time we worked with like warrior 2, and we did reverse warrior. So this was warrior 2, right? And this was reverse warrior. And then on this side it looked like this and like this. But now what we're going to do today is we're going to make a triangle with our body. And so what that means is I'm going to take my feet, and originally I'm going to point my toes this way facing you, but then I'm going to turn my leg, and the leg's going to stay straight this time. All right, and then I'm going to take my hips over my leg. So I'm bending at the leg, and I'm going to reach an arm down, and then if I want to, I can take my other arm up, and you can see I'm forming kind of a triangle with my body. I'm going to take a nice breath in here. Awesome, and then I'm going to come back up, and I'm going to do it on the other side. I'm going to start off with my feet facing forward, and then I'm going to turn that leg. I'm going to let it rotate, and then I'm going to bend my hips over my leg. I'm going to let my arm come down. I'm going to take the opposite arm up to the sky. I'm going to take a nice breath here. And that is how we make triangles with our bodies. Triangle pose. Well, I just have a couple more things I want to do today with you. This one is a little tricky, but it's really fun. And you might want to do it on the grass, because sometimes we lose our balance, and we've talked about this before. Sometimes we might lose our balance and maybe we fall down, but we just pick ourselves back up. But this is called half moon. All right, this is like a balancing kind of thing. So you're gonna bend your one leg, and you're gonna kind of lean your weight there, and you're gonna see if you can take that opposite leg. Whoops, there I go. Opposite leg off the ground. There you go. And there's half moon. Okay. So now I'm going to do the other side. Okay. So I'm going to face this way. My foot's pointing this way. I'm going to let more of my weight go onto that leg. I need to really concentrate on what I'm doing. Ooh. And there's half moon on this side. Okay, so that was kind of tricky. And if you just find that your leg comes up a little bit, that's okay. You just do your best. You know, you don't even have to take that other arm up. You can leave the top arm on your body. You don't have to take it up to the sky. But it's fun to try as we get stronger. It's really fun to see what you can do, see how far you can go. It might be helpful. I'm practicing on my towels here. I actually wonder, I think it probably would be helpful in this case to just be on a hard surface. That might be a little bit better for me. Anyway, so that, my friends, is half moon. So let's come down. I want to show you just a couple more things today for our practice. Let me check where we are in the time. Okay, so I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to come onto my knees, all right? And we are going to be camels. We're going to be kneeling camels. So my hips are over my knees, and I'm going to make fists. And I'm going to put my fist kind of on, not on my bum, but sort of on the hard part of the upper part of my hips, all right? And I'm going to allow myself to feel like I'm growing a little tall. And then I might take my gaze up towards the sky, and I might see how well my gaze can go up there as I sort of let the top of my shoulders get a little heavy to the ground. And I take a nice deep breath here, and I love looking at the sky. And then I'm going to come back. So that's camel. You want to do it one more time with me? We're going to allow ourselves to feel like we're growing tall, and taking our gaze up. That was nice. I like being a camel. Okay. Well, I want to show you another great animal pose. This one is a little tricky, so you have to really watch. My feet are together. I'm going to take my hands together too, but then I'm going to separate them and I'm going to put them underneath my legs, not over my legs. Underneath my legs, and I'm going to walk my hands forward like this, and I'm sort of bending forward at my waist, and this is being a turtle. We're being turtles right now. Maybe we can stretch out our heads. Can you stretch out your head like a turtle? Here we go. That's kind of fun. And then I'm going to take my arms back, and I want to show you what it looks like to be a rabbit. So we're going to take ourselves onto all fours again. And we're going to come down first into child's pose. Do you remember child's pose? We're going to come first into child's pose, but then I'm going to let my hands come down towards my heels, and my forehead is on the ground, but then I'm going to roll onto the top of my head, and my bum is going to move away from my feet. So here I go. I'm going to put my forehead down. I'm going to roll to the top of roll to the top of my head. And now I'm a rabbit. And I could even I could squish up my nose like rabbits do. That is being a rabbit. But I think before we go into our little bit of stillness time, I think we should be owls. Do you remember how to be an owl? Let's turn one way and go whoo, whoo, and come back, and turn the other way and go whoo, whoo, and come back. All right, I want to lie back down. We're going to do something that we haven't done before during our stillness time. And here's how it's going to go. So I'm coming onto my back. My legs are long. And you know how when we do the roly-poly and we get tight, 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 tight? Well, that's what I'm going to do with all of my body parts. But then I'm going to let all of it go and try to relax it. So here's how I want to do it with you. In your head, I want you to tighten up your toes, and then tighten up your feet, and then tighten up your legs, and tighten up your hips, and tighten your belly, and your chest, and your shoulders, and your arms, and your fists, and even your face. Let it scritch really, really tight, 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 tight. And then I want you to let it all go. Just let your whole body relax. And why don't you take 3 breaths with your whole body relaxed. That was really nice. I can hear the birds singing, and it makes me so happy. All right. So I hope you had a really good time today. We got to do a lot of fun things. We got to be birds in flight. We made sunflowers again. We did some bum walking. That was really fun. We got to be superheroes. We learned how to practice half moon, even if sometimes we might fall down, that's okay. And we did some pretending we're reeds of grass, sort of blowing in the wind. There's a lot of great stuff today. I hope that you have a super good week this next week, and we are Our next time is going to be our last lesson together, but I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have lots of fun. And I hope that you'll kind of notice what the animals are doing around your house, and whether they're nibbling on any of the plants, and if you see new flowers at all, and if the flowers close up when they get cold, but they open up when they're nice and warm. Just pay attention to what the plants and the animals are doing around you. And there's my dog barking. All right, I hope you have a great, great week. May the light in me honor the light and goodness in me, honor the light and goodness in you. Namaste. Bye, everybody.